speaking of sort of challenges and hard things, is there a possible world where sitting in a room with Mark Zuckerberg with a $1 billion deal, you turn it down?
Yeah, of course.
What does that world look like? Why would you turn it down? Why did you take it? What was the calculation that you were making?
Thus enters the world of counterfactuals and not really knowing. And if only we could run that experiment.
Well, the
right?
universe exists. It's just running in parallel to our own.
Yeah. It's so fascinating, right? I mean, we're talking a lot about money, but the real question was, I'm not sure you'll believe me when I say this, but could we strap our little company onto the side of a rocket ship and like get out to a lot of people really, really quickly with the support, with the talent of a place like Facebook? I mean, people often ask me what I would do differently at Instagram today. And I say, well, I'd probably hire more carefully, because we showed up just like before I knew it, we had like 100 people on the team, then 200, then 300. I don't know where all these people were coming from. I never had to recruit them. I never had to screen them. They were just like internal transfers, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's like relying on the Facebook hiring machine, which is quite sort of, I mean, it's an elaborate machine.
It's great, by the way. They have really talented people there. But my point is, the choice was like, take this thing, put it on the side of a rocket ship that you know is growing very quickly. Like I had seen what had happened when Ev sold Blogger to Google, and then Google went public. Remember, we sold before Facebook went public. There was a moment at which the stock price was $17, by the way. Mm-hmm. Facebook stock price was $17. I remember thinking, what the did I just do, right? Mm-hmm. Now at 320-ish, I don't know where we are today, but like, okay, like the best thing, by the way, is like when the stock is down, everyone calls you dope. And then when it's up, they also call you a dope, but just for a different reason, right? Like you can't win.
Lesson in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but you know, the choice is to strap yourself to a rocket ship or to build your own. You know, Mr. Elon built his own, literally, with the rocket ship. That's a difficult choice because there's a world.
Actually, I would say something different, which is Elon and others decided to sell PayPal for not that much. I mean, how much was it? About $1 billion? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, it was early, and but it's worth a lot more now.
To then build a new rocket ship.
So this is the cool part, right? Yeah. If you are an entrepreneur and you own a controlling stake in the company, not only is it really hard to do something else with your life, because all of the value is tied up in you as a personality attached to this company, right? But if you sell it and you get yourself enough capital and you like have enough energy, you could do another thing or 10 other things, or in Elon's case, like a bunch of other things. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like I lost count at this point. It might have seemed silly at the time. And sure, like if you look back, man, PayPal's worth a lot now, right? But I don't know, like, do you think Elon like cares about like, are we going to buy Pinterest or not? Like, he created a massive capital that allowed him to do what he wants to do. And that's awesome. That's more freeing than anything, because when you are an entrepreneur attached to a company, you got to stay at that company for a really long time. It's really hard to remove yourself.
But I'm not sure how much he loved PayPal versus SpaceX and Tesla. I have a sense that you love Instagram.
Yeah, I loved enough to like work for 6 years beyond the deal.
Which is rare, which is very rare. You chose.
But can I tell you why?
Sure.
It's
yes, please.
There are not a lot of companies that you can be part of where the Pope's like, I would like to sign up for your product. Like, I'm not a religious person at all. I'm really not.
Yeah.
But when you go to the Vatican and you're like walking among the giant columns and you're hearing the music and everything, and like the Pope walks in and he wants to press the sign up button on your product. Like, it's a moment in life. Okay. No matter what your persuasion. Okay. The number of doors and experiences that opened up was incredible. I mean, the people I got to meet, the places I got to go. I assume maybe like a payments company is slightly different, right? But that's why, like, it was so fun. And plus, I truly believed we were building such a great product, and I loved the game. It wasn't about money. It was about the game.
Do you think you had the guts to say no? Is that so? Here's I often think about this, like how hard is it for an entrepreneur to say no? Because the peer pressure. So every like basically the sea of entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley are going to tell you, I mean, this is their dream. The thing you were sitting before is a dream. To walk away from that is really, it seems like nearly impossible. Because Instagram could in 10 years be, you could talk about Google. You could be making self-driving cars and building rockets that go to Mars and compete with SpaceX.
Totally.
And so that's an interesting decision to say, am I willing to risk it? And the reason I also say it's an interesting decision because it feels like, per our previous discussion, if you're launching a social network company, there's going to be that meeting, whatever that number is. If you're successful, if you're on this rocket ship of success, there's going to be a meeting with one of the social network companies that want to buy you, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, but it could also very well be Google, who seems to have like a graveyard of failed social networks. And I mean, I don't know. I think about that, how difficult it is for an entrepreneur to make that decision. How many have successfully made that decision, I guess, is a big question. It's sad to me, to be honest, that too many make that decision, perhaps for the wrong reason.
Sorry, when you say make the decision, you mean to the affirmative.
To the affirmative, yeah.
Got it, yeah. There are also companies that don't sell, right? And take the path and say, we're going to be independent, and then you've never heard of them again. Like I remember Path, right, was one of our competitors early on. There's a big moment when they had, I can't remember what it was like $110 million offer from Google or something. Mm-hmm. It might have been larger. I don't know. And I remember there was like this big TechCrunch article that was like, they turned it down after talking deeply about their values and everything. And I don't know the inner workings of Foursquare, but like I'm certain there were many conversations over time where there were companies that wanted Foursquare as well. Recently, like, I mean, what other companies? There's Clubhouse, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe people were really interested in them too. Like, there are plenty of moments where people say no, and we just forget that those things happen. We only focus on the ones where, like, they said yes, and like, wow, like what if they had stayed independent? So I don't know. I used to think a lot about this, and now I just don't, because I'm like, whatever. Like things have gone pretty well.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the next game. I mean, think about an athlete where, I don't know, maybe they do something wrong in the World Series or whatever, and like if you let it haunt you for the rest of your career, like why not just be like, I don't know, it was a game, next shot, right? And if you just move to that world, like at least I have a next shot, right?
No, that's beautiful. But I mean, just insights, and it's funny you brought up Clubhouse. It is very true. It seems like Clubhouse is, on the downward path, and it's very possible to see $1 billion+ deal at some stage, maybe like a year ago or half a year ago, from Facebook, from Google. I think Facebook was flirting with that idea too, and I think a lot of companies probably were. I wish it was more public. You know what? There's not like a badass public story about them making the decision to walk away. We just don't hear about it, and then we get to see the results of that, the success or the failure, more often failure.
So a couple of things. One is, I would not assume Clubhouse is down for the count at all. They're young. They have plenty of money. They're run by really smart people. Mm-hmm. I'd give them a very fighting chance to figure it out. There are a lot of times when people called Twitter down for the count and they figure it out, and they seem to be doing well, right?
Yeah.
So just backing up, and not knowing anything about their internals, there's a strong chance they will figure it out, and that people are just down because they like being down about companies. They like assuming that they're going to fail. So who knows, right? But let's take the ones in the past where we know how it played out. There are plenty of examples where people have turned down big offers and then you've just never heard from them again. But we never focus on the companies because you just forget that those were big. But inside your psyche, I think it's easy for someone with enough money to say money doesn't matter, which I think is like, it's bullshit. Of course, money matters to people. But at the moment, you just can't even grasp like the number of zeros that you're talking about. It just doesn't make sense, right? So to think rationally in that moment is not something many people are equipped to do, especially not people where I think we had founded the company a year earlier, maybe 2 years earlier, like a year and a half. We were 13 people. But I will say, I still don't know if it was the right decision because I don't have that counterfactual. I don't know that other world.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful that by and large, most people love Instagram, still do.
Mm-hmm. By
And large, people are very happy with like the time we had there. And I'm proud of what we built. So like, I'm cool. Like we're, now it's next shot, right?